Hey guys, what you're seeing on the screen, it's an overload champion getting absolutely melted in this Grandmaster Nightfall. Just look how quickly it dies. Also, the sound this makes is very satisfying. So what I am bringing you today is this amazing hunter build that has one of the best ad clears in the entire game, combined with a bunch of damage reduction mods, as well as healing and overshields. The build revolves around Agers Scepter, and it's one of my all-time favorite builds that I have used way too much in the past. But before we get to the build, I want to thank every single one of you that has subscribed to my channel, as well as those that have joined my Discord. You guys are absolutely amazing. If you are looking for awesome people to play with, then join my Discord, trust me, you won't regret it. Now, I already made a Stasis Warlock build as well as a Titan one, so it was only fair to end this Stasis series with a Hunter one. As mentioned before, this build mainly revolves around Agers Scepter, as this is literally one of the best weapons in the entire game. It is super ammo efficient, as well as it allows you to deal with groups of enemies in a blink of an eye. Not to mention that it also works as an anti-barrier weapon thanks to its catalyst that allows you to permanently freeze anything. Keep in mind that sometimes it is better to simply throw your super, as you can instantly start to regen your super energy while it's still active and killing enemies. So if you haven't gotten this weapon yet, I fully recommend that you do, it's such an amazing weapon. To empower the whole gameplay loop of freezing enemies and getting overshields, we will be using mods like Font of Might, High Energy Fire, and Font of Wisdom for that extra free intellect that it provides. Alright, now that you have an overview of the build, let's get into more detail. Stat-wise, we are going to be aiming for 100 resilience, 100 recovery, and then try to get discipline as high as possible. Now, the reason why we are not using mobility in this build, it's simply because we don't need to be using the dodge for anything. Ability-wise, you can use whatever you want, however I do recommend sticking with Marksman Dodge and Duskfield Grenade, simply because those are your two best options for this build. Aspect-wise, we are going to be starting with Grim Harvest, and this is going to create stasis shards whenever you defeat a frozen or slowed target. These shards grant melee energy when picked up. Touch of Winter is simply going to improve your grenade. In our case, it's going to add a stasis crystal inside the Duskfield. As for our fragments, we are starting with Whisper of Bonds, which is going to give you super energy whenever you defeat frozen targets. This is going to allow your super to come back much quicker. Next up we have Whisper of Fissures, and this is going to increase the damage and the size of the burst of stasis whenever you destroy a stasis crystal or defeat a frozen target. Then we have Whisper of Chains, which is going to give you that damage reduction whenever you're standing next to frozen targets or a friendly stasis crystal. Whisper of Conduction, which is going to make the stasis shard track to your position. And Whisper of Rhyme, which is going to give you the nice heal and overshield whenever you collect stasis shards. Mod-wise, we are going to be starting with High Energy Fire on our helmet, and this is going to give us that nice 20% damage boost to our weapons whenever we are charged with light. We are combining this with a Harmonic Siphon because we are going to be using a stasis weapon with this build, which means we are going to be creating a lot of stasis orbs. On our gauntlets, we are going to be using Font of Wisdom, and this is going to increase our intellect, and I believe it goes up to tier 10, which means if you have tier 2 intellect, it's going to get increased all the way to tier 10. We are also combining this with a couple of champion mods. Font of Might is the next mod that we are going to be using in our chestplate, and this is going to give you a 25% damage boost to weapons matching your subclass type, in this case stasis weapons. Now, the exotic of choice that we are going to be using for this build is Star Eater Scales, and this exotic makes the build so much better because it's going to give you even more super energy whenever you pick up orbs of power that we are going to be creating left and right. This is going to allow you to use the catalyst of Agers Scepter more often. Now we are pairing this up with Elemental Charge, which is going to allow you to become charged with light by picking up elemental wells. And finally we have Elemental Shards, which is going to allow for your stasis shards to count as stasis elemental wells. I am also pairing this up with Revitalizing Blast because it's a seasonal mod which is very nice this season, and it works perfectly with Agers Scepter freezing capabilities. And then one utility kickstar to go with it. Weapon wise, we are obviously going to be using Agers Scepter because this is the bread and butter of this build. With a seasonal overload trace rifle mod, you can use this as an anti-overload weapon. Now you can also use this against anti-barriers, as when you pop the catalyst, you can permanently freeze them before they can pop up their shield. As for your energy and heavy weapon slot, you can feel free to use anything that you want, so I usually try to match the singe of the activity that I'm doing. Now, the way you play this build is simply by using your Agers Scepter whenever you see any enemies that you need to die. However, you should only kill one of them, then wait for the rest to freeze, and then shatter them all, as this will give you a ton of super energy, as well as it will save you some energy ammo. Once you kill frozen enemies, not only you will get a lot of super energy, but you will also create stasis shards that will proc Font of Might, Font of Wisdom, High Energy Fire, and heal you with an overshield. Remember that standing next to frozen targets or a stasis crystal also gives you a very big damage reduction buff. So if you feel like you need the damage reduction, remember that you can use your grenade and you can just throw it right next to you, as it creates a stasis crystal right in the middle. Also, don't be afraid to spam your Agers Scepter, as it is very ammo efficient and you will most likely not run out of ammo too often, as well as spamming your super, because you will be getting it very quickly with this build. And that's it guys, thank you so much for watching, I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, if you could like, sub and comment, I would really appreciate it. Also remember to join my Discord, as we are building such an awesome community, and thank you so much for being part of it. As always, have a great rest of your day.